So, the first two editions of FAM were extremely time-consuming for editing. So I've decided to try and rejig the format just slightly, and I'll be looking at my predictions now that the game is already finished. But I'm quite excited because the game finished 0-1, or 1-0 to Manchester United, but it was away from home. And it was Greenwood who scored on the 80th minute.
I find it so satisfying when players score on the times that are divisible by 10.
But before we go into the post-match analysis, my overall feelings of the match were that we're still seeing glimpses of the United of the future, but that things aren't still, the pieces still aren't quite in their correct places. I think there was another big signing on the way, and the surprise of having to make a decision so quickly on Cristiano Ronaldo basically shook them into action. But I think that there's still another signing to announce. Do you want my predictions? Go on, I'll tell you then. I think that the deal to bring Declan Rice from West Ham in exchange for Cash and Lingard would be a solution which benefits everybody. And as we could see from this lineup, it was a little bit different because it had a single pivot, but the single pivot was Fred. And as you'll see from the FAM section of the of my videos, I would trust McTominay alone in that position if he were fit, but I would not trust Fred, and I didn't trust him today at all. I thought he had an awful game, and I don't know how he lasted the full 90 minutes. But yeah, let's dive into the post-match analysis. Referee Mike Dean. Now, I'm not a big fan of referees in order to know all of their names, but there are a few who stand out, and Mike Dean is one that, for the British viewers, you might know Jasper Carrott. I think he looks exactly like Jasper Carrott. But I would never like to accuse any referees of bias one way or the other. But I always feel optimistic when I see Mike Dean as the referee, because he does have a tendency to find penalties and leniency in favour of Manchester United. And there are times where we need all the help we can get. But you can see that, 51% to 49%. Wolves played a fantastic game. They can really hold their head held high. Up till 80 minutes, the game could have gone either way. And I really rate Adama Traore as well. I think if he could just add a decent shot to his positional movement, then he could be clocking up 20 or 30 goals a season easily. So my predictions. The correct score, I guessed Wolves 1, Manchester United 2. So I was right about a victory of 1 goal difference, but it was only a 1-0, not a 2-1. I think a 2-1 would have been more exciting. But to be brutally honest, after Adama Traore came off, I didn't really see anybody stepping up to get Wolves a goal anyway. I think by the end they were trying to bore it out to a 0-0, and that was their downfall. And I'm very excited to show you this part. Lineups. 65 points. I was going to swear, but I'm going to leave that till later in the video. 65 points because I got 11 out of 11 players and the correct formation. Well, it doesn't take a genius to figure out it's going to be 4-2-3-1. Once Ronaldo's available, we could see any number of different variations on formations. And I can see a future where the debate about CDMs is forgotten because United just don't play with a CDM. Just play with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attacking players, outfield players, and then a good line of defence and a good goalkeeper. The old adage, we're going to score one more than you. So, a few thoughts on the lineup. I wasn't sure whether he'd go with Varane or stick with Lindelof because there's an international break next week, and so I thought maybe he might have preferred to not dump on Lindelof and tell Varane to hold out for another week before he became the first choice. But one of my overall feelings of the game was that I'm really excited to see Varane. I think he just added so much stability at the back. There were a few times where Wolves got crosses, and any previous version of United from last year, the year before that, the ball almost would have certainly ended up in the back of the net, whether it was Lindelof or Bailly or De Gea tripping over somebody on his way out of the goal, or some kind of comedy of errors that would have ended up with a goal going in off a set piece. And Varane has really just made everybody feel more confident at the back, I think. In the midfield, I think Fred was a bad choice here because the idea was to get Pogba more central mid, not defensive mid, and leave Fred back on his own as almost like a 4-1-4-1. And Fred isn't that kind of player. Many people have said about the Fred and McTominay duo that they're two players doing one player's job, but it's not that. It's that Fred and McTominay both have enthusiasm abounds, but Fred more so than McTominay just doesn't have any kind of quality of either tackling or passing. I was glad to see Sancho start, but a little bit disappointed.
Excuse me.
I was glad to see Sancho start, but I was a little bit disappointed he didn't last the full 90 minutes. And I rightly predicted that this would be a game for James to start. Really more because of the lack of options in those two CDM roles. I think Matic played his last the other day, and Ollie knows that he can't trust Matic anymore at the back. And if McTominay were there, it would have obviously been McTominay and Pogba. And I think with a team like Wolves, you can throw Daniel James into the mix, and he can do what he did today. Basically, he runs into space. He attacks the. He runs up and down the line, which stretches the defence out wider, and he comes back and helps out with defensive duties a lot more than any of the other attacking players as well. There are people who think that now Ronaldo's arrived that Daniel James is obsolete, but I think players like James and McTominay especially are players who don't need to play every match. I think of those as players like Fletcher or John O'Shea from the Alex Ferguson era. That they're players who can come on and do a task when it's needed, but the rest of the time they'll keep the bench warm. Can you hear that dog barking? I hope it's not too loud. I put first scorer James, but I was really in two minds over this one because I wanted to put Greenwood, and I thought, well, I chose Greenwood last week, and I was right last week. He did score first, and he did score first today, so I should have stuck with my first instinct. But I thought that this was just the kind of game where James would apparently silence his critics until the next time he has a bad game. But this would have been his moment to shine, and he didn't shine, but he didn't do anything wrong either. And man of the match, I thought Varane, not because he would have been the best player of the day, but just because the excitement of having him there for the full 90 minutes would have been enough to get the public vote. But the man of the match was De Gea, and I can see why, to be fair. The end result is 0-1 because of De Gea's fantastic double save. The old reflex of a kitten routine. People have talked a lot about De Gea's weaknesses, but that is, and always has been, his absolute strength is the quick, instinctive reaction save. I actually feel that that's why it's time for him to be transitioning out, and maybe Henderson moving in slowly over the next year. Because De Gea was our emergency goalkeeper who could keep a bad defence to a clean sheet, even if they didn't deserve it. But now we don't have a bad defence, we have a fantastic defence. And so with a goalkeeper that comes off his line more, Varane and Maguire can go all the way up to the halfway line and camp out up there and defend high. But yeah, I'm going to stop the video here, and I'm going to go to the FAM section and probably talk some more about my feelings about the game while I'm explaining my choices for the FIFA Armchair Manager. Now on to my fourth attempt at filming, and as you can see, I've pulled several chunks of hair out. But I'm excited about the match and ready and raring to go. The last time it crashed, it was 18 minutes into the game and I was winning 2-0. There was the whistle, but before we play, I'm going to quickly show you the team structure. It's a 4-2-4. The biggest difference in personnel is that Van der Beek's playing and Cavani's starting as well. I've got Van der Beek and Fernandes in the middle of the two of 4-2-4, but with Van der Beek slightly more defensive and Fernandes more attacking. And then left and right wings, Pogba and Sancho, and my double attack of Greenwood and Cavani. I would actually be really excited to see in the long term Greenwood and Rashford as double strikers. But for the next couple of seasons, we can throw Ronaldo in the mix and have any combination of Ronaldo, Cavani and Greenwood in those two striking roles. And we're ready to go. Good interception from Cavani. Oh, it didn't quite bobble in favour of Greenwood. Oh, terrible. Good intercept and a free kick earned. Plays it safe. Luke Shaw fancies a trot. Oh, but he doesn't make it. Pogba with the clearance. Oh, that's not the pass I was looking for, but it's good. And the first touch was lacking. Oh, good play from Bruno. But an awful pass. Oh, they're slicing me open. Oh, Maguire gives away an awful free kick right on the edge of the box and earns himself a tasty yellow. He's righteously indignant. He nearly took Sancho out as well. I'm going to defend here. Oh, and Traore couldn't quite pop one in. Good sustained pressure. Oh, but the pass was misplaced. I think I'm going to give up trying to walk it in through the middle of the park. Sancho's looking for his space for his shot, but he can't get one. Chips one over to an empty section of field. Oh, this is getting worse. Why is Wan-Bissaka on the left? Risky clearance, but it pays off. I'm just lacking a bit of stability in my passing, I think. First big let off of the game. Plays it down the line. Go on, Jaden. Run into space, lad. He's got it. Oh, and he fucking walks it out. Aye. I think the signing of Cristiano Ronaldo is good news for Jadon Sancho as well, because with over a year of expectation of his arrival, there's a lot of pressure for him to perform. And now that he's not the most famous signing of the season, maybe he can kind of slip in under the radar and just have a couple of slow starts until he's ready for Premier League level. I'm not going to make any substitutes at half time, but they have. So because it took so many attempts to record this, it's now Tuesday morning, and the news has come in that Daniel James is going to Leeds. But yeah, I didn't include him in the lineup today, more because I didn't want to just use all the same players as Ollie, not because I didn't think he was good enough. I would have been happy for James to stay at United for at least another season, and maybe offload Martial and Lingard instead. Now, do I have any options in the substitutions? .55 minutes, so I'm not going to make any substitutions just now. Oh. Come on, Donny. Oh. Must be offside, yeah. And they insist on playing it out from the back. But Wan-Bissaka's good for it. What the fuck is going on here? I can't play out from the back or hoof it one. Oh no! No, 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 no! There's some tidy footwork from Greenwood to get us at least back into the chase for the consolation goal. An equaliser now would set us up for a fine finish. But where's it coming from? Great build up. Oh, come on. Oh, it's there. Oh, and the goalkeeper got it. Good pressing again. That's their free kick though. Oh, come on. He got the ball and then he fucking left it behind. I did go in for a bit of a late challenge there with Maguire, so I'm lucky that he didn't connect. Whoa, that's one way of turning around. He's playing on ice. Go on, keep moving. Float one in. Oh, and it was so close. Ends a corner. Get it on Cavani's head, come on. Oh! 87th minute. He just handballed that. I want a steward's inquiry. And here it comes. Here it comes. The hair keeps me in it. But it's already past 93, so I think we're done. Game over. So, before I talk about this specific match, just let me pause so I've not got the sound going. there were so many different technical difficulties. I recorded the first one the same night of the match, and the game footage didn't work. Then I recorded it again in the early hours of the morning of that same night, and thought it had worked. Then I started editing yesterday and found that I didn't have any footage of me, so I only had the footage of the game. Then this morning I started recording it again, and the camera crashed for some reason when I was winning 2-0. But in this game I've lost 2-1, which I think is the version that I'm going to post, because the two previous versions that I played the full game of, I lost those as well. And so, full disclosure, I was going to see if I could win this one and just pretend this was the only video, but no, I'm going to be honest. For future FAM videos, I'm going to try and find the best way of doing all of this live streaming in order to cut out all the delays with the editing process. On this specific game, I think the absence of McTominay was the biggest difference. I do like this double attack, and Cavani, I think, really benefited from having Greenwood there with him. There were a couple of occasions where we could have got another goal, and it could have been 2-2. But for the FAM universe, we can see that after a better start than Ollie, because I won my first 2 matches, now I've lost my 3rd match, so I'm actually 1 point behind the real Manchester United. I don't think there's very much more to say other than sorry for the delay on the video, and I hope that the international break will give me time to iron out some of these technical monstrosities that have been befalling my every waking moment. Yeah, so see you next time.